to last night's laundry AMA. Now, before we start anything, this video is going to explore the fact that we've been treated like children for a very, very long time and told who the enemy is supposed to be. And just hours ago, the Biden administration announced that they had finally killed Ayman al-Zawahiri, supposedly bin Laden's right-hand man and 9/11 mastermind, okay, after 20 plus years of declaring victory in the war on terror. Remember how quick the Afghanistan conflict said we wiped out the Taliban, and then later on down the line there's the raid on bin Laden? All I can say is this: dead again for the very first time, and it feels so good. The thing is so damn ludicrous that I want to take you guys back to a year plus ago. About a year and a half, 2 years ago, the administration announced it again. And I said, you know, it's just crazy to me that we're still talking about this guy when these were supposed to be the people that were the apex of evil, and this guy was still putting out reports. We're talking well over a decade ago. South Park did an episode, okay, where they parodied Ayman al-Zawahiri with real footage on the television in their animated show. That's how cartoon level this is. So anyway, they say they kill him. I want to say that this was under the Trump administration, by the way. It wasn't under the Biden administration. And then New Year's Eve of this year, Ayman al-Zawahiri supposedly puts out another video. And this happened again and again and again with a ton of these terrorist figures who were either Al-Qaeda or ISIS underlings. And it just is so weird when they have all these intelligence ties to not only the United States, but often Israel. Look into Adam Gadon. That's how this network moves. That's how this network works. And then with the help of the Pakistani ISI, who was also integral in the network that was being set up via Iran-Contra, just in a different region, right? This is the Mujahideen network, the ISI, the Saudis, the anti-Russian crew, okay? They feed you fabled enemies. That's why I called it that. That's all they are, fabled enemies. Ayman al-Zawahiri is dead? Well, whoop-a-doo! I believe some people are telling me this is the 5th time they've supposedly killed him. All right. Some are saying it's the 7th. I think it was Steve from Slow News Day. If I go into my Twitter feed, I think I read that state television was saying that Ayman al-Zawahiri, after he put that video out just days ago, maybe a week ago, had actually died of natural causes. Here's what I know. We're being told these things by known liars and psychopaths that commit genocide. And you know, I'm sitting here doing this. I need to start folding the laundry again, guys. That's what we're really here to do. We're here to fold some laundry. That's why we're even in this room. I had to get it going because it's absolutely absurd. Bin Laden himself, a royal, somebody who was openly part of the Central Intelligence Agency network that was set up with a lot of banking via the BCCI. Look up the Banks of Criminals and Cartels International. And again, there's just a small segment in Invisible Empire because it's so dense, so hard to grasp. But that network absolutely included bin Laden. And that's why I hope that, you know, a lot of people that haven't looked at 9/11, haven't seen my documentary films on it, don't get it twisted. You know, this whole deep state thing, one of the huge upsetting and disappointing aspects of it's starting to go viral, okay, that some of the people that rule the world are occultists and into child abuse, was all of this Johnny nonsense that was totally fake and then immediately attached to it, was the fact that everybody's a quote-unquote Satanist, all right? And Satanism exists, but I'll tell you right now, I don't know who runs the show. I say it's a consortium. You know, I saw some comments in my in my last AMA, and of course you were going to get the Jesus crowd and this and that Satan rules everything. All I know is that there are a class of generational bloodlines that have been nepotistic and worked within circles like criminal cartels, like the mafia, for generations now. They utilize those social climbers in all fields that they must for their agenda. But their agenda is total and complete domination through the post-truth world that they've created. And 9/11 is one of those instances where you have to take a step back and understand, again, they have such disdain for you. They knew if you would buy into the boogeyman terrorism that it could move into something, invisible and transmissible, and that makes you put a mask on your face and social distance. They can make it into anything. The boogeyman can literally be anything, and it can eviscerate your freedoms because all of a sudden you're encroaching on the freedom of others. You see how they invert the language? And that's where the Satanism comes in for me, right? Occult is hidden knowledge. We could talk about rituals, et cetera, but at the bottom line to me, whether you believe in a devil, a heaven, a hell, a guy with a beard or a red dude with a tail, or none of those things, okay? The inversion of reality is truly satanic. That's what it is. And remember, there's all these different flavors of Satanism out there now, right? The Church of Satan, the Satanic Temple. A lot of people have been wanting me to point to Michael Aquino and his ties to the occult, and also, obviously, a huge part of the Franklin scandal, right? And Aquino would go, these people are brazen. Aquino would go on television shows, and proclaim that he's innocent. He's not one of these people. It's craziness. It's nuts. So, what do we got going on today, guys? What's going on? Yeah, cutting trim ain't bad. Satan is the god of this world. Well, again, if you believe that, you can. But I'll tell you what. I see a lot of inversion of reality. And again, Ayman al-Zawahiri, dead again for the very first time. Yeah, I'm doing my laundry. This is how we do it. This is a laundry AMA. I didn't attach AMA to it. But if you saw the thumbnail, it would clearly be me in front of clothes. I'm about to take off. I'm going to be going to Virginia outside of D.C., and then I'll be speaking in New York. I'm going to be on the road probably the next 2 to 3 weeks, guys. A lot going on. A lot going on here. What are the big news stories today, guys, that I'm missing? Let me know in the comments. Doing it live, laundry. And by the way, I was watching the Tuxter today, and if you watched my programs in the past couple days or with Fitch, he's covering a lot of what we're covering before him. I'm just saying. He's covering Nancy Pelosi. He's covering China. And I'm glad because those are important issues. But it is bizarre that the subject matter that I gravitate towards is now followed up, although with a very right-wing and conservative flavor, on the most popular news show in the world. And people don't want to give that to the Tuxter, but hey, he's done it. There's no doubt that's the most popular news show in the world right now. Period. Hands down. I wish that he would go farther. I wish that he would have an honest discussion about 9/11 because it is such a crux issue. I mean, look at what we did when we've changed from the physical anomalies that are blatant to the explosives that were on the ground, that were in other buildings. I mean, you look at Building 6, and the top is blown off. We have a video where it clearly looks like some other type of explosive event is happening there. And then you have molten steel running down channels, or molten metal dripping, according to, I believe it's Ken Holden of FEMA, in hearings. And nothing was followed up on. Everything was whitewashed. Al-Qaeda, terrorism. Let DARPA have their way with all of the Middle Eastern region that they will allow. Let's move it into AFRICOM. Let's do it to Libya. Yeah, let's give it to Libya good. Let's give it to, yeah. Come on. And this isn't just one nation state. When we talk about the real cabal, I need people to understand. These are alliances. There are petty differences. But the cartel crew at the top, they mean business. And they're pushing forward. Ayman al-Zawahiri, he's dead. I can't, it's beyond a parody, right? It's beyond a joke in so many ways. They're telling you, again, if what they initially said about 9/11 had any validity, wouldn't he been taken out like in the first 6 months? Not 20 plus years later? Give me a break. Thoughts on Jimmy Dore and getting on, and Russell Brand? I'd love to get on either show. I think Jimmy Dore would probably be easier. At the same time, you know, I don't beg or lobby for shows. I'd love to get on Russell Brand. I'd really love for Russell Brand to watch one of my films from back in the day. You know, other than Loose Change, which many of these people have already seen, right? And if they do watch Loose Change, they decide to watch that one, I would hope it's the final cut, right? The second edition is okay. There's some mistakes in there. You know, obviously, I've talked about them time and time again. But I think the final cut is just spot on and bulletproof in a lot of ways. By the way, shout out to Jeffrey Wilson. He's on That Podcast Network. You can check him out. It's Me Speaking to You. I think he just did a podcast with my main man, Pat Militich, recently. And you would be familiar with him podcasting with Militich in the past via The Conspiracy Farm. So shout out to Jeffrey. We miss Jeff. We haven't seen him in a while. Wonder if he caught those fights this weekend. They were fun times. America wants a form of government and corporation to a private corporation. Listen, with all this history Johnny nonsense, I get it. It's not Johnny nonsense. I shouldn't phrase it that way. Obviously, our constitutional republic is not what it once was. And many of the things that we do outside of the Constitution that are supposedly laws, etc., are really color of law through agreements that we've signed up for, and many of them are indeed corporate. But I'll take it even further than that. What really occurred is post-World War II, whatever remnants we had building up this war machine, right, of a constitutional republic was completely decimated through the executive with an executive and the continuity of government and their powers, because then it was on. Then it was open to human experimentation if we wanted to do it, which we did. It was openly withholding technology from the masses, which we've done, etc. That's a reality. That's what's really going on. It's been going on for a very, very long time. These people have done things biologically with nanotechnology that we can only imagine. Again, you'd have to be there. You'd probably have to be there to grasp the severity of what has happened. And meanwhile, they got the masses, the public, believing in aliens, and ancient aliens are coming, and every type of breed of aliens, and they're the ones, and they're they're the ones that started. You notice you get all these false religions, and that's what they really are. Atheism was cool, but it's not as cool as like, we come from aliens, right? Ooh, in the infinite cosmos. These people have never been straight with us about what space is and what NASA is. It's warfare, and it's not just space warfare. It's psychological warfare on the people. It is quantum supremacy. It's full spectrum dominance. It's putting frontmen like Elon Musk into the public. That's what it is. And it's telling you that Ayman al-Zawahiri, again, a guy they had in videos in the 90s with bin Laden, a person they said was the 9/11 mastermind. Well, he's been killed again, dead again, for the very first time. I'm going to keep going to that. By the way, can we get 100 thumbs up? 182 people watching me do my laundry right now. I really appreciate that. But, you know, the Ministry of Truth, it's first of all, it's probably going to be, now when you type in Ayman al-Zawahiri, it's going to be hard to find information from a year ago when, again, at the beginning of the year when he put out the video taunting the United States after they had said they'd killed him. And they'd killed him before that. And he just kept getting older. The real question is, what kind of an asset was he? That's really it. Because there's no way that guy survives for as long as he is if he's not some kind of an informant or straight up asset. Again, look into Adam Gadon. That's what you need to do. Let's see. What else we got here? I am dying to fix that damn wall behind you. Your buddy at least put on some white satin finish. This, I mean, I'm in like, there's nothing here. This is just drywall. That's it. It's just drywall. I care less. We're in the back laundry room, man. No big deal. To the law and to the testimony, if they speak not according to this word, it is because there is no light in them. Isaiah 8:20. Well, we got a little scripture in. We don't usually pump that into the show, but there you have it. And guys, again, Loose Change, Final Cut, Fabled Enemies, Visible Empire, A New World Order Defined, and Shade the Motion Picture are free everywhere. Although they just pulled one of my Shade watch-along videos. Again, the V word's a tough word to use. Apparently, they must have pulled it there. Period. Thank you. Preach Bermas. Remember, guys, you can support me via buying me a coffee, becoming a premium subscriber over at the Rockfin, or just sharing my videos, my uncensored stuff, which is over at Podbean, Rumble, and Rockfin these days. Smash that like button. Yes. Oh, man, I got so much to do. That's why we're doing this. And we're keeping up with the 3 videos a day thing. Really trying to do that. Really trying to do that. A lot of people want, you know what I was looking for today? I'd love for anybody to find it. So, back in the day, a thing called DTube existed. It was while I was working for We Are Change. And Derek Bros was asking the question on, and I'm sure I have it somewhere, but I have to go through all these hard drives, of what were the good questions to ask about Parkland. And I happened to say, listen, I did this mini documentary. Anybody can watch it if you can find it. Parkland Code Red. Somebody had uploaded it to BitChute, and it's there, but you like try getting it from the magnet link, et cetera, et cetera. Some of the questions that were in there have been answered, others have not. I mean, I think after people have seen Uvalde, I think the questions in Parkland are just as valid, if not more valid. Absolutely. Like, there was a lot going on there. For instance, they had the Code Red drill going on earlier on the day. It appears Cruz was there earlier in the day. He wasn't supposed to be on the grounds. He had made threatening videos. He should have been on their radar. In fact, he was on their radar. Just a lot of weird things. And that's not to say that, like, Nicholas Cruz is innocent. I don't take that position at all. Not even a little bit. Oh, let's see. Continue thumbing it up, everybody. What else we got here, Bermas Brigade? What we'd like to talk about? Have you heard of the Red Queen? What is the Red Queen? I mean, are we gambling? Is it the same metaphor for some kind of Alice in Wonderland thing? I mean, if you want to see my stuff on Shady Hook, you can watch that too. I think there are valid questions. I think some of the teachers were targeted. Again, I don't think that Lanza necessarily acted alone, right? I think Lanza was definitely involved. There's a lot going on there, by the way. Let's see. What's this say right here? Sorry. Boundary stones around the District of Columbia where the jurisdiction is for the United States. Well, D.C. has its own set of laws. That's absolutely true. The Vatican has its own set of laws. Even Disney had its own set of laws. I mean, Disney, which is really just an arm of the Central Intelligence Agency, of course. Of course. Let's see. Stephen Lee, please consider me to cook for your wedding. Well, the wedding's a ways off, even though we're going to be together forever. We haven't even planned anything like that. Who knows what's going to happen? I'll probably end up having that back in New York, I would imagine. I know that her family's in New York, and I still have a lot of friends and family in New York as well. It would be fun. I'm sure it's going to be a party of a day. Let's see. What else we got? What else do we got over here, guys? And I want to thank the longtime supporters. I don't know, was Tyler Durden, my friend Mr. Telford in here? I saw Flick Off was in here. Thank you so much, my friend, for everything that you've done for the broadcast. DeBomb, good for you. Congrats. When you pop in the question, we've already really talked about it. Who knows when we're going to set a date or all those things, but like I said, I don't intend on getting divorced. I've never talked about starting a family with somebody. That's the deal. New York wedding. Upstate New York wedding. You know, that big, and that's the other thing. You look at the absurdity of what the predator class at the top is telling you about human beings when every single human being on the planet Why did Tyler Durden, tell me I mispronounced your last name. I know you like being a wise ass, but seriously, think about it. The global population can fit in the 5 boroughs of New York. That's great. Great interview with James Corbett. Will there be another collaboration coming up? I've done a lot of stuff with James Corbett over the years. I mean, I interviewed James well over a decade ago. We do keep in touch. I would assume that as soon as I get a chance again, I will, of course, have Corbett on it. Like I said, I'm about to be on the road a little bit, but I know that I've been encouraged to do a 24 and 24, and I might do a 24 and 24 to do some fundraising because I'm definitely going to need to do it. And if I do that, I'm going to try to get Corbett and some other gems in there, at least as some pre-interviews for some of the live stuff. And it's been like 3 years probably since I did the 24 and 24. So, you know, that's always fun too, because I tried to do 24 interviews, I believe. Maybe there was some other stuff in there, but, you know, it's always good to get other people's perspective and see where their head is at and talk to them about what's going on in the world. Like, you know, it was funny. We were out having a walk, me, my girl, and her daughter. And her daughter basically started talking about something, and I'm like, you're right, I don't know everything. And she's like, it was kind of like, well, you know, such and such said he knows everything, and I'm just like, well, you know, nobody knows everything. I go, we're all human. We're all going to make mistakes. And I go, on top of that, you know, right now you're learning math, for instance. You can never stop learning. There's always stuff to learn. I'm ignorant to a bunch of stuff. I like to think I know my bounds to my ignorance. I don't just proclaim things. I do some kind of research, basic research before I start spouting my mouth off. And if I get something wrong, guess what? I'm willing to admit it. I'm willing to admit it. You know, it's a quality apparently some people just don't have. Can't admit when you're wrong. It's a good thing to do. And listen, I'm pig-headed like you wouldn't believe. Remember, it's not a function of our government to take the citizen from falling into error. It is the function of of the citizen to keep the government from falling into error. Well, our citizenry has failed a lot. All I know is I know nothing. Socrates. You know, one of the guys I used to really admire, and I was lucky enough to spend time with before he died, several times actually, was Jim Mars. I'm sorry. And Jim Mars was somebody who I had seen over the years, basically talking about UFOs and aliens, and he was very, very deep into that subject matter, and he was criticized for it, and he did take this position for a long time that, you know, aliens probably exist. He thought that was the evidence, and that was the big cover-up. He wrote a book called The Fourth Reich. A lot of it gets into the Sitchin stuff, but at the end of the day, he goes, you know, I don't know whether aliens exist. He goes, you know, I can't. I know that I have all this documentation, I have these witnesses, but at the end of the day, do I have definitive proof? No, I don't know. And he was he did one of the better 9/11 books as well, questioning there. And he was the one that found April Gallup, who we interviewed, etc. And I just thought, you know, this guy had spent a large portion of his career, certainly what made him internationally famous. You can still see some clips of Jim Mars on shows like Ancient Aliens, etc. Basically saying, look, I don't know. I'm not going to proclaim that I have all the proof in the world and this is definitive. So, you know, God bless him. He was one of the greats. Jim Tucker was one of the greats. And just really, really important stuff. Rule by secrecy. Yes, that's another good one. My education came from Jordan Maxwell, Santos Bonacci, Manly P. Hall, and Rod Class. See, some people don't like Manly P. Hall, even though he was a friend to Jordan, because if you read, America's Secret Destiny, there's a great series. I think it's The Secret Beginnings. Talks about Francis Bacon, Atlantis, all these different things. I haven't watched it in years and years and years, but you bought some Annie Jacobson and Jim Mars books. Good stuff. But it went through this line of thinking that Shakespeare was really Francis Bacon, and these people were going to bring in a new Atlantis, a new world order, via the United States that would eventually crumble and fall into the ultimate new world order and one world government. And look, a lot of these things make a really compelling case, and I think that they have, how do I say this? They have a perspective, and they have a lot of validity to certain points. That doesn't mean they're spot on. And Manly P. Hall, is constantly talking about Sirius and, this being of light and kind of like this Luciferian perspective. And that it's the secret destiny, for us to forge this new world order out of that. So you look at theosophy, right? And what is it? Starts with a B. Blavich. Someone get it. What's her name? What's the original theosophy lady? Because that's very much a part of Manly P. Hall and the New Age and all that stuff. But Jordan did a lot of great work. Jordan, I'm so thankful. Another person I got to spend actual time with and put in one of my films. It was, don't get me wrong, it was great to spend time. I spent time on air with Jim Mars. I think you can actually watch some of that on Rockfin. Blavatsky, there it is. Thank you. You can watch that, but with Jordan, we got to spend the day with Jordan. Go to Jerry's Deli with Jordan. Did we land on the moon or not? Well, Michael Harris, here's where things get complicated. I'll say this. I think there's a strong possibility that we have been maybe to the moon and beyond, whether in person or through some kind of drone aircraft. All right, and I'm not talking about the missions that you hear about, etc., or the tools. There's a really big possibility of that. There's even the possibility that somehow we were using some technology at some point during that thing. But do I believe that the Apollo missions were real? I am extremely doubtful. I don't think the technology for rocket technology exists that can push us, at least human beings, to the moon. You have Dennis Bushnell constantly talking about, if we're going to go further into space, we need to space harden humans from the radiation and the G's. You have the fact that no other first world nation, and Russia was kicking our ass in every single way, right, has gone up there. In fact, we were using Russian rockets until NASA started cutting these pretty boy deals with SpaceX just to go to the ISS. I think that rocket technology is limited. I think you'd have to use another type of propulsion system. And I think, there's a ton of evidence out there that the Apollo missions, although they existed, they did not take us to the moon with rockets. That's how I feel about it. I think, and you look at that, that's one of those things you wonder if they can continue that lie. Again, how long have they treated us like children? What are they capable of? Why aren't more and more people, if there isn't global collusion, calling them out on it? Space Force is old. I see the Space Force question, right? Space Force is really just another part of the Air Force. If you look at what Lockheed Martin and Skunk Works were going and doing in those black programs, and this is what I mean when I say there's a great possibility that, first of all, when we talk about also space hardening humans, we don't know what they may or may not have done to human beings genetically. These were black sites. People that worked at the black sites like Area 51, all right, thought they were going to go work for NASA. It's interchangeable. So I think that, first of all, I'm a big believer in the vast majority, if not all, of the UFOs out there are man-made technology. That's numero uno. Number two, I think that a lot of that technology, although it could be, what can I say, aircraft or UAV or satellite or weapon in nature, also happens to be holograms on top of it. We've already seen, like today, it's our last day. Tomorrow we're taking off from Iowa, so we went out to the bowling alley / video game / laser tag place, right? And they have like a VR spot, but I'm not even concerned about the VR spot. Just like overhead, they have an interchangeable hologram right there of different advertisements on each corner. It's, I don't believe 9/11 hologram. No, I do not. I think that's a real aircraft. I think the reality is it's probably a drone aircraft, probably a military aircraft. And, people always ask me, what happened to the other planes? I go, at the very least, we all know that they had Global Hawk technology, again, prior to 9/11, in all of those commercial jets that they could have stopped at any moment and just moved. Something they never talked about, and they acted like it didn't exist. It absolutely existed. So we also know that there were drones in the air through Amalgam, Virgo, and other drills running up, and then running on 9/11. We know on radar they had a bunch of Phantoms, other aircraft. So, I mean, obviously, and they were running drills of hijacked aircraft. You had the E-4Bs in the air. The E-4Bs were on the scene of these attacks, the very continuity of government, shadow government, command centers I talk about. But no. I'm the conspiracy theorist. Again, they've never treated us like adults. And now people are going to find out that these people aren't just, hard-nosed parents or abusive parents. They're getting ready to bend you right over, cut your throat, and ritualistically sacrifice you on behalf of their idea of what humanity should be and where it needs to move. They're really lovely. They're great. Don't worry, guys. We got more laundry to do. Thumbs it up, subscribe, and share. We got one more bin. One more bin of laundry. What do we got? It's not a question if we can stop the agenda. It's a matter of enough people backbone to stand up against tyranny. Well, I'll say this. I think good and evil are always going to exist. And those are the two forces on this planet I truly believe in. They're always going to exist. There's going to always be some sort of a battle. But right now, the battle is for the very soul of what's left of all of humanity. And the question for me is, will we win that battle? I don't know about the country. I don't even know if we can stop the vast majority of people from getting hurt or being amalgamated into this agenda for a virtual age where you upload your consciousness. Right? Transhumanism. I don't know if we could stop that. I really don't. Guess we're going to see. I think, again, we're going to have to navigate through our own lives. I think that we're going to have to raise little warriors out there, little information warriors, people with a spine, people with a backbone, men and women alike, people with discernment, people with values, people with real love in their hearts. And easier said than done, guys. Easier said than done, but that's why you do those things in your own life as much as you possibly can. Let's see. Jason, did you ever try the supplements that Dennis Bushnell mentioned in his past video? Yes, I'm on NAD+. And I then checked out another doctor out there. I forget what his name is, but I'm also on metformin and resveratrol. Okay? Now, he talks about L-arginine, and really L-arginine is one of these nitric oxide supplements. He talks about the possibilities of that growing nascent cancers. So he stopped doing that. But I think the NAD+ stuff is great. It's not like something that gets you hyper. I don't believe it to be a placebo. I just felt more straight and focused, especially after like a week or so. Yeah, I mean, they're not cheap. I'm not gonna lie to people, but and I try to eat pretty healthy. I could eat healthier for sure, but at the same time, I try to supplement every day. We take a walk every day. We took a walk out in the park tonight. It's good stuff. I encourage people to do the same. And the more you do, the more active you are, the more goal-oriented you are, the more you're around people that make you feel good, all right, the better you're going to feel, and the better your immune system is going to work, and the better your life is going to be. And I was thinking about it today because, like I've talked about, I'm trying to have a kid. I totally believe that this is it. And I thought, man, I would feel like a loser if for some reason I waited too long and I couldn't have a kid and I couldn't multiply and I couldn't have my genes move on, because that's just what these fucks want. They don't want independent thinkers, people that are going to push back, that are going to strive for everything they can for their family, right? They don't want those people to raise children. They want children raised by the state and basically biomedically enslaved, period. Physiologically enslaved as they move them on to the next human 2.0. Automation is coming for sure. Automation is coming for a lot of people. For a lot of people. Robotization, and again, the people at the top, they don't really care about you. Keep that in mind. They've been preaching overpopulation and climate scares for a long time now. A long time. And humans are always the problem. Love this. Thank you for all you do. I watched all your docs several times. Really opened my eyes. Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. I would hope that you could share them with others and say, hey, you know, these are older. How much of this is accurate now? How much of this is relevant now? How much of this isn't the QAnon nonsense you might have seen on the message board? It's happening. It's happening. It's almost comical, right? All the super secret squirrel codes. You know what was making me laugh? Getting back to 9/11 and Ayman al-Zawahiri finally dead after all these drone strikes, supposedly. Who knows? Maybe we'll get a video again, just like we did. Maybe we'll get another New Year's video from Zawahiri saying, "Fooled you again." Who knows? But getting back to that, a lot of people will deny this, but I vividly remember it. There was a certain sect of the Trump QAnon nonsense crowd that said that the Mueller probe was actually going to, Mueller was working for Trump, and that's where the secret indictments were going to come, and people were going to go to Guantanamo Bay and dicka-dicka-doo and all the Johnny nonsense. Robert Mueller was integral in covering up 9/11. Robert Mueller was Bill Barr's best buddy and integral in cleaning up the BCCI and Iran-Contra mess. Okay? Robert Mueller was their guy, was their dude on 9/11. And I'll say it again, Giuliani shut his mouth, and that's his main lawyer. Come on. And again, you want me to be critical of Trump? I couldn't be more critical of the fact that in his impeachment hearings, he chose Alan Dershowitz to represent him. He wished Ghislaine Maxwell well, frankly. I wish you well, frankly. Quite frankly. Big problems. And people talk, about people going down under Trump. Look, it would have been great. It would have been great if we had a real trial with Epstein and he didn't have to kill himself twice. That would have been awesome. It would have been great if Ghislaine Maxwell's trial wasn't basically a sew-up job where the vast majority of the incriminating evidence against the high-level pedophiles that were involved was covered up. Would have been great. Didn't happen. Didn't happen. So listen, I'm not going to tell you how to vote. When it comes up, when there are people I believe in, I obviously talk about that. Joe Biden wasn't the guy. Everybody knew how I felt about Joe Biden when he was just Joey B., your friendly neighborhood gangster. Right? Period. Q/Blue Anon. But listen, no one's coming to save you but you. Period. I don't trust any of these politicians all the way. Think about how long it took some of them to sound halfway like me. And I'm not perfect by any means. Get stuff wrong. I'm a human being. We talked about it earlier. But my God, I mean, is your home, your $1 million home, or your business, or your haircut, or your notoriety, or your mistress, or your nice car really that important? Don't a lot of you have children? Are you at least beyond your crazy sociopathy and egomania and narcissism enough to think about your kids? My God. And their kids, hopefully? My goodness. My goodness gracious. Guys, we're coming up on the end of it. We're coming up right on the end. We're almost done folding. Just a few more. Thumbs it up, subscribe, and share. Let's get it over 200 thumbs up. Let's raise a glass to the third, fourth, fifth, sixth, maybe seventh time they've killed Ayman al-Zawahiri, one of the masterminds behind 9/11. And Al-Qaeda Taliban leaders. Ooh, Ayman al-Zawahiri. Again, the name you want to look into, Adam Gadon. Adam Gadon. You want to look into people like Adnan Khashoggi for not only the Epstein network, but the Iran-Contra network. You get it? That's what you need to do. Oh, let's see what we got here, guys. Any other questions? Dzang. Oh, that's Dzang yourself, Miss Pow. Pow, baby. Pow, pow. No, Adam, Gadhan. Adam Gadon. If you don't know the name Adam Gadon, you need to know that. The people that they roll out there as these terrorist leaders. Who was the ISIS guy? Right? And again, who was the Al-Qaeda guy that they supposedly killed on like the motorcycle once? I mean, these names all mix in together after 20 plus years. Zawahiri took out, oh geez. Yeah, I'm not going to read that on air. Mr. Telford, I'm sorry. Look into Adnan Khashoggi, who was the uncle of Jamal Khashoggi. And Jamal Khashoggi looked like he was very heavily invested in U.S. intelligence. Again, he was writing for U.S. media. Hint, hint, go back to Operation Mockingbird. Again, exposed prior to the Iran-Contra network being exposed. Had all sorts of connections, Trump included, Epstein included, arms dealer, playboy, on a boat. He on a boat. He on a boat. He on a boat. All sorts of hands in the Iran-Contra affair. And then I believe it's, who is it, Mark Rich, right? And then there's part of the Israeli angle there. Once again, the Israelis were buying the weapons from Czechoslovakia and Poland. They were running them down to South America. Okay? So these are names people should know. I'll say it again. Adam Gadon. Check out the documentary films. They are free. Loose Change Final Cut, Fabled Enemies, Invisible Empire, A New World Order Defined, and Shade the Motion Picture. Follow me on Twitter at Jason Bermas. You want to support me? Buy me a coffee, $5, $10, $15. It means the world to me. Or you get that premium Rockfin subscription. And guys, if you're new and you're just checking out the YouTube stuff, literally, probably in the last 6 months, there's at least 100 plus videos that are only on Rockfin, because that's how many times I've been banned on YouTube. So consider it. All my stuff's free anyway, so at least follow me there. We're on Rumble as well. We're doing the Podbean thing. It's an RSS feed. I'm going to be on the road soon, but that doesn't mean I'm not going to be coming at you tomorrow. I'm going to try to get some videos in. I absolutely love you guys. It's not about left or right. It's always about right and wrong. Remember, it was conservatives who were in power at the time. It was Republicans. They all suck. They're all terrible. It's all ridiculous. I'm not a child. They ain't my daddy. I love you guys, and I'll see you on the flip side.